Ladies and gentlemen, your MVP, Luis Perez.
I've thrown with the best of them, Matt Stafford, Drew Brees.
Floats one to the end zone. Touchdown!
The amount of times you've been knocked down, you've gotten back up.
I personally think the UFL is stronger than the preseason.
With Max Duggan, did you have an impact on him signing with the UFL?
My passion, my desire, and my leadership.
What's up, everyone? Today we have XFL champion, spring football legend, and Arlington Renegades quarterback Luis Perez with us on the show. What's up, Luis? And first off, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Graham. Appreciate you having me on, man.
So we're going to get into some UFL stuff shortly, but I want to start by focusing on you and your story. How did you get started with football, go from ninth on a depth chart in college, and end up here on the Renegades all these years later?
Yeah. So, again, it was an obsession. I had an obsession to be great at whatever I did. And I chose quarterback. That was a dream as a kid that I always wanted to do, was play in the NFL and, win Super Bowls and all these different things I wanted to do. And it's been fun. It's been a fun ride. And yeah, so I started off really trying to play my freshman year, but for whatever reason didn't work out. I was bowling at the time and I was bowling really well. So, I ended up making a decision just like, hey, you know what? I'm rushing out of practice my freshman year, and then I'm having to go to my bowling leagues and going back and forth, and I'm not doing as good in bowling because I'm tired from practice or whatever. I'm like, you know what? This is it. I'm not gonna play football anymore. So I went all 4 years without playing, and the last home game my senior year changed my life. I remember being out there and sitting in the stands and watching all my buddies run through the tunnel, and me thinking, wow, like getting full body chills. Why am I up here? Like I need to be down there playing.
Mm-hmm.
And really, that's to answer your question, that was the moment I decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna play quarterback. And again, got on YouTube and worked my way kind of little by little. I was ninth on the depth chart. And then slowly but surely just kind of got my opportunity. People kind of transferred out, switched positions, got hurt. Before you know it, now I'm fourth on the depth chart. And now I'm starting to get some reps and getting better. And by this time, I know the playbook better. And so I won the backup spot my freshman year in college, and starter went down, come in the fourth quarter, we win the game. And the next game I throw for 4 touchdowns. And then the next game after that, I break my leg. So, you can imagine all these different roller coasters that go on emotionally. But yeah, so after that, I decided, hey, it's time to rehab and go back. I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with playing in the game. It was just a fun time. So after that, I go back, I end up not winning the starting job. I was still rehabbing. I wasn't fully healthy, didn't get as many reps, got it, really late in training camp. And then again, kind of same story. Starter went down week 3 or 4, and then I come in the fourth quarter, and win the game. So it was good times. So that's kind of how my first upbringing as a quarterback started.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about what was the mental process, or what's inside of you that like just keeps you going and keeps you grinding in tough situations like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the hardest part for me was understanding how hard it took me to get to the top,
Yeah.
which the top was, right, throwing 4 touchdowns, winning a game starting in junior college, right? That was my top at that moment. And every event that had to go my way to be able to just be in that position to then get it taken away like that, right? It was a mental grind of like, man, I knew how hard it was to get there. So I knew I was going to have to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
But the positive part was I knew I had already done it. So I knew I could do it again.
Yeah.
So it was like, hey, yes, I'm at the bottom, right? But I've already done this before. So I'm just going to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't foreign to me. I definitely think that the first initial, trend towards playing quarterback, and that was much harder than the second one because, again, I just look back on how I did it the first time, and I'm like, well, I did it, so why can't I do it again?
Yeah.
So I just kind of put my head down, one foot in front of the other, tunnel vision, and got it done.
That's awesome. I'd imagine that's carried over some to now looking at your long spring career and stuff, bouncing back and forth between the NFL and then all these different leagues. A bit of that, like, oh, I've made it to the NFL before. I know I can compete with these guys. Like, what's stopping me from going out there and trying again?
100%. I mean, I've thrown with the best of them, the best throwers of the football. I mean, I've been with
Mhm.
Matt Stafford, Drew Brees. I mean, I've been with so many guys, and I've thrown next to these guys, and it's like I belong,
Yeah.
and it's just the right opportunity at the right time. That's all it is. So that keeps me going too, knowing that I can't play at that level and play at a high level at that level. Um, so again, that and I just believe in myself. I just do. I
Mhm.
put in too much work. I've been through too much. I have too much knowledge, and I have the track record. So I just know that once the right opportunity comes, I'll stick.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about the book you've written. Obviously coming out at the end of this month, I think, or end of March.
Yeah, end of March. Yeah,
Okay. So right as the UFL season's starting up, it's titled The Spring King, right? Love the
yeah,
nickname. Um, what went into the process of writing that? Where can we find it? All that stuff.
yeah. So I've always had that thought, right? After all the obstacles I've been through throughout all these spring leagues, even in college, junior college, right?
Mhm.
My story is very unique, and
Definitely.
I always thought about writing a book and possibly doing a movie, right? Thinking big, but it was just a thought. That's all it was. And then, after this year, after, having a great, you know, personally, I had a good year in the UFL last year. And then, going and playing for the Chargers, I started reflecting a little bit on like, it's just everything. Started going through old notebooks and seeing, because I would always, take notes on certain events that happened that I thought, one day I would need this. And I ended up just saying, you know what? This is the time. And I went back and I just started reflecting, going through old pictures again, old notebooks, journals that I did. And I just feel like this story can impact too many people to not tell it. I mean, if you just look at from a motivational standpoint, from a mindset, from a preparation, from like how to overcome adversity, I mean, you have it all in one.
Yeah.
And I would do a disjustice to the world, in my opinion, to the sports world to not share my story. So I pulled the trigger and I said, you know what, it's time, and I want to do it strategically too. So I want to launch it the same time as the UFL. So hopefully I can get guys talking about it.
Yeah. Um, I was talking to one of my buddies before I was doing this interview, and I was like, I was describing your story and stuff, and we were just talking about how it's like a Netflix show. It sounds like something you'd put in one of these documentaries. Just the amount of times you've been knocked down, you've gotten back up, and you've made a name for yourself, especially in like the spring leagues. I mean, you're the Tom Brady of the UFO or whatever. We joke about that, but it is impactful and I don't know, just with the stuff I do, like I run track and field as my main sport in high school, but just like seeing how athletes like yourself are able to come back from injury or come back from setback after and disappointment, and just keep going it is really powerful. And I think that's cool that you're sharing that. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, I'll touch on something talking about adversity. Like
Yeah.
if I was talking to myself, 10 plus years ago,
Hmm.
to me, there's three phases of adversity, right? So it's the actual event of the adversity, right? Breaking my leg. Then the next step is usually emotion, right? Like everything, all the emotions are going through your mind of just like, man, why is this happening? This and that. You're going a million thoughts, right? And then right after that stage, it's the action stage, right? And my younger self stayed in that emotional stage too long.
Yeah.
And the longer you stay on that stage, it's much harder to get out. So like now, I don't have a middle stage anymore. I don't have that emotional stage anymore. Anytime I hit a roadblock, anything with adversity, I just go straight to action. Okay, how am I going to fix this? I don't dwell on it. I don't say why this, why that. I just, okay, how am I going to fix it? Move on. Right. So that's made my life a lot easier. And that's helped me really just continue to play. Because like you said, I've been through a lot of adversity.
Moving into a little bit more of the UFL stuff. Um, First up, I want to ask, out of all the years of spring football, what's been your like personal favorite if you had to choose?
I got to go with the championship season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. That's the way it all happened too, right? Like,
See, I was wondering if there would be a difference there because of the whole trade and how that all went down. But I mean, that's an incredible story in its own.
yeah, it's all perspective, right? It's all how you take it. I took it as a blessing, being able to get traded and being able to turn the Renegades around and win a championship. So it was good, because again, right when I got demoted and they said, "Hey, we're 0-4, we're gonna get everybody playing time.
Yeah.
You already got enough film, right? That's rock bottom, right?
Mhm. That
To
hurts.
getting traded, to winning a championship, right? To then breaking my leg in the championship game
Mm-hmm.
in the first half, and
Yeah.
then having NFL like opportunities not being able to go,
Hmm.
right? Like everything's perspective, but
Hmm.
hands down, I would say for sure championship season.
That's awesome. So, like we already touched on a little bit, aside from the writing, you did spend some time with the Chargers in the offseason. I'd like you to compare the quality of play you've seen in the NFL preseason versus the UFL. What's different, better, or worse about the two?
Um, I personally think the UFL is stronger than the preseason,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I just think that you know, there's too many good players in this league. I mean, there's guys that are first round picks that have played in active games, and in the preseason now, guys don't really play as much, the star players.
Mhm.
So we're really judging bottom of the roster guys in the NFL to, UFL. So I would definitely say UFL.
Yeah. Walk me through your time with the Chargers this season. I know there was a lot of buzz as soon as you got picked up and then turning around and playing like what week of and having to learn the playbook immediately. Just talk to me about your time, what you learned, positives, negatives from that experience.
Yeah, so I'll start off by saying this: there was no negatives. Everything, I take everything in a positive manner,
Yeah.
no matter if it can come off negative. But yeah, it was great going in there 3 days before the first game and having to cram a playbook. Right, that's not new to me. That's something I've done my whole career. So I did that, and thought I played well. Again, have to learn the playbook. Right, that's number one, especially the type of player I am. I can't just go out there and freestyle. Like I have to know what everybody's doing, and I have to know timing of routes, get a feel for receivers and how they run the routes and all that stuff. So it was a little challenging, but it was fine. I learned a lot from Coach Harbaugh and Greg Roman and Shane Day. Love Shane Day. He was a quarterback coach there. He's awesome. Me and him really hit it off. Um, but yeah, no, like I said, no negatives. Everything was a positive experience. It was cool to play for my childhood team. That was awesome. Being from San Diego, I rooted for the Chargers my whole life. So that was kind of a dream come true playing for them, and just putting on the pads and the helmet was a special moment.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. This is a bit of an aside, but we've talked a lot about San Diego as being a possible expansion spot for the UFL. Would that be something you considered?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love for a team to go there, absolutely.
Yeah,
But I'm definitely staying with the Renegades. I'm loyal to the Renegades for sure.
gotcha.
Yeah.
You also got to work with Max Duggan a little bit while you were in LA, correct?
Yep.
Did you have an impact on him signing with the UFL, or was that just more of a coincidence that y'all both worked there and then are now playing in the spring?
Yeah, it was a coincidence. So me and Max, we were only there a short time together. I think we only, you know, overlapped like a week.
Really?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so we weren't there together that long, but great guy from what I know, great
Mhm.
guy, awesome, hard worker. I'm excited to see what we can do in this league.
So what went into your decision to come back to the UFL and to Arlington for a third season? Was there any hesitation or was it boom, out of the NFL, I'm right back in it?
Yeah, so every year I ask myself a couple questions. It's, am I healthy? Yes. Do I still love to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and train my butt off like a maniac? Yes. Am I playing well? Yes. So why would I not play anymore? Those are the questions that I ask myself after every year.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty easy one this year.
What do you want personally from this season? What's your like main goal or some area that you're looking to improve on?
Well, I want to win some more football games. We'll start off with that.
Yeah.
Last year was rough. It was rough, especially the way we lost the games.
Yeah.
That was a tough season. It was hard to enjoy my personal success because we weren't winning, so you can't really enjoy that. So yeah, no, definitely winning games and winning a championship. I mean, that's the goal. Every time you set foot on the field is to win
Mhm.
every single game and win the championship. So that's the goal in mind. Want to be more mobile, in and out of the pocket, being able to extend plays with my arm, like outside the pocket, and also maybe run for a couple first downs. So expect to see a little bit more of that this year.
Nice.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just go out there and win games. That's number one.
Okay, and then pitch to me why the average football fan in Arlington should attend a Renegades game this season.
If you want to see a bunch of guys that are hungry, eager to play ball, that play their butts off, that, all have dreams and aspirations to play in the NFL, go to the game. It's going to be fun. It's just like any other pro football game you've been to. The talent is there, the passion is there, and the execution and the talent is there. So I think it'll be really good for you to show up.
Rapid fire with Luis Perez. Who will win the UFL championship this year?
Arlington Renegades.
If you could compare yourself to any quarterback, who would it be?
Aaron Rodgers.
Who's the best player in the NFL right now?
Joe Burrow.
If you had an opportunity to play with any wide receiver, past or present, who would you pick?
Randy Moss.
If you could expand the UFL to any city in the whole world, where are you going?
San Diego.
Do you like the nickname the Spring King?
At first, I was a little hesitant, but now I like it.
All right, and then if you could be remembered by your teammates for one thing, what would it be?
My passion, my desire, and my leadership.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you, Luis. It's been a pleasure. Always love getting to talk to you. And I hope we can do more of these in the future. If not, I will see you in Birmingham. And I hope to see Arlington having a lot more success this season.
Yeah, of course, man. I appreciate you having me on.